Oh boy, it's that time again, everyone. It is time for another Survivor's Guild chapter. Chapter 5 should be coming out either tomorrow or the day this video gets uploaded. We'll see how the timing works out on that. But yeah. Oh boy, this one's a big one. This one's a really big one. It's kind of hard to believe we're already at chapter 5, honestly. Like, TVH, that's kind of crazy to me. As someone who has been playing this game since the start, it's like wow, I can't believe we're here already. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life when we get to that final chapter. We only have one left, man, after this. I don't know, man. Yeah, hard to believe I've been playing this game for a year now. Isn't that crazy? It's been a hell of a year, though, I'll say that much. But enough about that. We can reminisce when we get into the actual episode. Let us talk about Survivor's Guild Chapter 5 and all that. Wait, hold on. What's it called again? And all that could have been. That's what it's called. I did this sort of little podcasty thing for Chapter 4 as well, and I mainly did it because I had a lot of thoughts going into Chapter 4 that I wanted to share, but also I didn't want to bog down like the intro of the actual episode. So I thought, hey, it'd be kind of fun if I made a little side video that's just real quick and easy to edit for those who are interested in my more in-depth thoughts and analysis. Just for anyone who's curious, about how I came to the conclusions I did when it comes to like my theories and whatnot. And honestly, I'm glad I did that. A, because like I said, it made it so the intro wasn't so like bogged down with exposition and shit. And B, because it was very fun to I recorded that video before playing chapter 4, obviously, but I didn't edit it until after my playthrough of chapter 4 was recorded. So it was very fun to like go back to that video after I had just finished chapter 4 and see all my theories and see what I got right, what I got wrong, what I got close on. And to my surprise, I got a lot of it pretty spot on. So it's nice that I have that video, that shows what my thought process was, and how I got as spot on as I did. That's never gonna happen again, by the way. I just want you all to know I will never be that spot on with a Fangan chapter prediction ever. That was just, I don't know what happened there. I think my third eye opened or something, just temporarily, but I mean, I think the only thing I really got super wrong was I didn't expect Kokoro to die. When in all honesty, like I probably should have. It was coming from a mile away. Looking back, I was just blindsided by my love for her. So yeah, it is what it is. Still get Mamoru and Kazuki in the exact order, victim or victim in blackened. Peak, man, absolute peak. And then there was some other small stuff I predicted, like Rui and Alicia kissing, which did happen. I didn't expect them to kiss Hayato too. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Rui and Alicia did a little bit more than kissing, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. I just again, my third eye just opened. I was able to read Raven's mind somehow. But yeah, with chapter 4, I was really confident with all my theories and guesses when it came to what was going to happen in that chapter. And that was a big reason why I wanted to make that video, because I had that confidence and I had a lot of thoughts to back up why I was so confident on those theories. So this video is going to be the same way in that I'm doing it so that I don't bog down the intro to the actual chapter 5 videos, but it is also the exact opposite in that I am not at all confident in any of my theories. The big difference is there's a few ways I could see chapter 5 going. Quite a few ways I could see chapter 5 going, in fact. With a few reasons to back some of them up. Some of them are just kind of gut feelings, if I'm going to be real. But I have a few predictions. I have a few reasons for why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. So I guess this video, I'm gonna try and just hash it out with you all. I'm gonna share some of those theories I have, and think through them a little more thoroughly than I have before. even though I've been thinking about these like all fucking week, honestly, um, just on and off for actually for the past couple of weeks. Because I mean, chapter five is a big one, man. This is the penultimate chapter of Survivor's Guild. Getting this far in any fangame is a pretty big deal, and this is where shit usually gets really, really fucking crazy. Because this is where shit starts to really properly build up to the grand finale. So I've been trying to think about all the clues we've received so far, and think about who I think is gonna die this chapter, and just prepare myself for the crazy shit that's about to go down. Whether I'm right or wrong, hey, I'm sure we're gonna have a very good time in chapter five. I'm ready to get my dick blown off in surprise. Raven has been a teasing how sad this chapter is, and I know he does that with every chapter, but this one in particular has seemed to have gotten a much stronger reaction out of some of the people who got to play it early, like the testers and whatnot, than some of the other chapters have. So he's been sharing some of those reactions on Twitter, and it is making me quite worried. Honestly, I thought I was kind of gonna get through this chapter like somewhat okay. I didn't think it could be sadder than chapter four, at least for me personally. I mean, he already killed my wife. Like, what's the worst he can do? I mean, be for real. But I'm worried, man. I always do this. I always underestimate this guy, and then this game fucking kicks me in the nuts and beats me up and smacks me around silly with emotion. I do this every chapter. I really do. I'm always like, okay, it can't be that much worse than the last chapter, and it always fucking is. It always is so much worse than the last chapter. So, even taking Kokoro's death into account and how I sobbed like a little baby, I feel this chapter may find a way to make me want to cry even harder. And I hope not. I don't want to cry on camera, but it is what it is, man. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with my emotions. Whatever happens, happens. Point is, though, I'm gonna try not to underestimate the potential for this chapter to fuck me up. To make a long story short, I am expecting worst case scenario with this chapter. Just something awful and terrible. And like I said, I have a few ideas of where it can go. So we're just gonna hash it out and see if I can come to some sort of conclusion. Some sort of guess, just one guess that triumphs them all. That I can be like that I can share in the main video and be like, hey, this is what I'm guessing. Put it out there with pride and be like, this is my guess. Take it or leave it. For now, though, I have a few ideas, and I feel they're all like rattling around in my brain, trying to fight for dominance. I'm gonna say up front before we go any further, I would not be discussing any of my theories about who I think the hunter is. I will be saving that for the main video because I know there's. How do I word this without spoiling something? You know what? I just won't even try. Let's just say I have reasons for why I would like to save discussion about the hunter for later in the main video. And I think when we get there, you'll understand why. I think it'd just be a lot more fun to save it for a specific part that I know about in chapter 5. Obviously, it's nothing like a major story spoiler or anything like that. Otherwise, Raven wouldn't have told me about it. But I do know one teeny little thing, just one teeny little thing. One scene that's gonna happen where I think it'll be a lot more appropriate for me to discuss my theories. We'll just leave it at that. I hope that was vague enough. So this video is mainly going to be focused on who I think is going to die, and also some other miscellaneous ideas I have. I guess we're not even sure if the hunter's going to be revealed in this chapter or not. I have a feeling he might be though. I don't know. I feel like he might be. I think there's a very good chance. Cause I'm thinking similarly to like Live or Die, how they had Bayaka as like the fake mastermind, quote unquote, and then they had the Omega, who was above her, which ended up being Ryu. And this game has a very similar sort of setup with its killing game. It has the main mastermind, which in this case is Nihil, and then the hunter, who even by his own admission is just being used as a tool by Nihil. So like my idea would be like this chapter we find out who the hunter is, and then in chapter 6 we find out who Nihil is. But also I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I think Raven said something on like the Discord or something about how Nihil is supposed to be like one of the big villains of the third game, or maybe I'm misremembering something. But so maybe he won't get revealed in this game. Maybe that'll be a mystery left over for the third game. We could find out who the hunter is this chapter, and then maybe chapter 6 we find out something else about Nihil and the organization he runs. That's keeping the killing games alive. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, like I said, these are just theories, but I do think there's a pretty good chance we'll find out who the hunter is in this chapter. But like I said, we'll keep my theories about who I think it is for later. For now, I would like to talk about who I think is gonna die this chapter. Now, usually, this is what I did with chapter 4. I would look at the standard Danganronpa slash Fangan tropes and jump off of them for some sort of inspiration. However, I'm not 100% sure if I can do that with this chapter, as apparently this one is going to be a little bit different from the norm. Now, I don't know exactly what that means. So there's a good chance that I could still follow the Danganronpa tropes in this regard, but obviously I can't say that for sure. But yeah, that's another thing Raven's been sort of advertising about this chapter is that it's gonna be a little bit, just a wee bit different. So I don't know if I can make guesses in the same way I've been able to. Even with Fangans that usually like split off from the typical Danganronpa formula, they at least, by the end of the game, I can at least get a little bit of a vibe for what they're going for, and try and make guesses based on that vibe. And, that's kind of what I did with Chapter 4, because I went by the standard Danganronpa tropes, but added thought about the twist Survivor's Guild would be adding to it, How Survivor's Guild would be playing around with those tropes, because that's this game's whole gimmick. But if this chapter is different in that regard, then Jesus, it could be anyone. It could be literally anyone. Of course, I can't say for certain, but um, I just want you all to be aware of that. I think I'm just gonna try and make as best of a guess as I can with the information I do have. So I'm probably just gonna try and do what I did with chapter 4. Just be aware, it may not work. I will say though, apparently one of the big reasons this chapter is a little bit different from some of the other ones is because it's taken inspiration from a certain piece of media that I am not familiar with. It's apparently a very niche piece of media, and supposedly it's referenced in the art they use to advertise this chapter. And this piece of media apparently influenced the direction of the story in this chapter. And I keep describing it as this piece of media because I do not know the actual name of it because they've been trying to keep it a secret. They've been very hush hush about it as to not ruin the surprise for people who aren't familiar with it. So obviously my predictions would be a lot stronger if I knew what this poster was referencing. But I don't. I'm sorry. My geek, my nerdum and geekdom is failing me at this very moment. It kind of irks me because just something about these poses looks so familiar to me. I saw the rough sketch of this before the actual colored version came out. Um, Raven was nice enough to show it to me as a bit of a teaser. And even then, like, just something triggered in my brain that was like, I feel like I've seen this before, but I just cannot it's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't place it. especially Alicia's pose. I don't know, that just, it's such a specific pose, and I feel like I've seen it before, you know? So, like, part of me feels like I should know what the fuck this is referencing to some capacity. There's like a 50% chance I'm just wrong and confusing it with something else, though, I suppose. But I feel like there's another 50% chance where, because I'm sure Raven will inevitably tell me, like, after I'm finished with the chapter, what this whole chapter was like a reference to and whatnot. I feel like there's a 50% chance when that happens, I'm gonna just facepalm and be like, I should have known! I should have known! Because it just, I'm looking at it right now, and it's like, it's sending something off in my brain. I just can't place it. But like I said, it's supposedly a very niche reference, so there's a good chance that's just I'm just confusing it with something else. But I do genuinely have that fear that it's like something I should know and have some history with, and I'm gonna find out and be like, oh, I'm such a dumb bitch. I'm such a dumb fucking bitch. It'd be really cool if like it just popped into my head while recording the chapter 5 videos. I think that could be funny. I doubt it's gonna happen though. So yeah, I guess long story short, at this current moment I do not know what this is referencing. So we're just gonna throw that out the window, and I'm just gonna raw dog these guesses, man. I'm sure if I knew what the reference was, I'd be a lot more like, yes, I know exactly what's gonna happen this chapter, but I don't. I'm sorry. If it is something I should know, you all can make fun of me in the comments below. mm, I just feel such a sense of familiarity with it. I don't know, man. It is probably better that I don't know what this is referencing though. It will make it more of a surprise. It'll make the chapter more of a surprise for me. You know. Let's look on the bright side of this at the very least. And if I look like a fucking idiot, then so be it. You know, it wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, like I said, let's just raw dog this. Chapter 5s are usually the chapters where shit gets the most real. And because of this, this is usually the chapters where the characters closest to the protagonist end up dying. So Danganronpa 2 saw Chiaki and Komaeda die. Danganronpa 3 saw Kaido and Gokichi die. It's weird that despite being the first game, Trigger Happy Havoc kind of deviates from this trope. Instead of having any major character die, they do a little ploy. They have a body discovery for Mukuro, but of course this was before Mukuro's identity was known, so to the cast they have no idea who the fuck this is. But either way, it's a very shocking death. Danganronpa Another does something very interesting with the Chapter 5 tropes, because it introduces a brand new character that just adds to the mystery and ends up killing him off. And then it ends up Mikako is the Blackened. And I wouldn't really say she fits into the ally or antagonist roles, like Chiaki or Nagito do. But she was still a very like important character. So I guess a better way to describe chapter 5 is this is usually the chapter where the most plot relevant characters die. And like I said, that usually ends up being the rival and the ally character to the protagonist. But sometimes it ends up being someone like Mukuro, the twin sister of the actual villain, or Mikako who had a relation to the Foundation where the building of the Killing Game took place, and you get what I'm saying, right? Now I think it's worth noting, Live or Die Chapter 5 kind of doesn't really follow this trope. I wouldn't exactly call Eri or Ayaka some of the most plot relevant characters. I guess you could make an argument for Ayaka because she did have all that big development in chapter 4, and then of course she is revealed to be the mastermind, quote unquote. She's revealed to have the Bayaka personality at the end of the chapter. But Eri is definitely a little bit more random, honestly. So it does make me wonder if Survivor's Guild is going to be more similar to Live or Die Chapter 5, or the standard Chapter 5. And by the way, no hatred towards Eri or Ayaka. By the way, obviously Ayaka's my favorite character in the fucking game. and I love Eri to death. But like when I think of like the most plot relevant Live or Die characters, I'm thinking like Rio. I'm thinking Alucard even. And by the way, don't also take that as me saying Chapter 5 in Live or Die is anything but peak, because it is peak. Just noting that it doesn't really follow the exact tropes that typical Danganronpa stories set up for their fifth chapters. And that's okay, because honestly, it made the deaths a little bit more surprising. But I feel like in Survivor's Guild, there's so many more characters that I would consider plot relevant, or like extremely plot relevant, I should say, that I feel like they're probably going to follow this trope a little bit more closely, to at least play with it a little bit, you know? So if you ask me, the characters that I think have the highest chance of dying, like I said, I have many theories about who could live and who could die. So we'll just start with this. Here are the characters that I think are at risk of death this chapter. Alicia, who I would consider the ally character. I accidentally said the friend character in the last podcast episode, and Raven got on me for it. I did not mean. I did not mean to. I did not mean to imply that Rui and Alicia are just friends. I'm sorry. Raven's comment on that video was very funny though. I rarely see a they're very good friends done to a canon male female couple. It made me chuckle. It made me giggle. But yes, I apologize. Wait, what the fuck is this? There's AI shit on my video now? What the fuck? Ask about this video? No, I don't need to. I made it. Is that on every fucking... Hold on, is that on like the main channel videos too? It's not. Why is it on the treasure trove videos? I don't get this. I'll see if I can turn that off later. Gross. Ask about the video. How about you fucking watch the video? There's an idea. So I got a little distracted. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Okay, so Alicia, I think, has a very high chance of death. Hayato, I consider so the antagonist slash rival character. So I would say he also has a very high chance of death. And then I think we should throw Gumi in there as well. Gumi took on a bit of an antagonistic role in the last chapter. But even outside of that, she's been a very, very recurring presence in the game. And is also just one of the characters that stands out the most, given that she is one of the returning characters from the previous game. It's her presence here that connects this to Live or Die. She's the one that explains that. She's the one who explains to everyone about the previous killing game, about the fucking organization that what's it called? Nihil, them bunch. She has some of the most development in this game compared to some of the other characters. So I'd say she does comfortably fit into this role. I do think she has a very high risk of death. And I would say these are the three who are in the most danger out of the current survivors. I'm trying to think. God, we don't have many left, do we? We have these three. We have Rui, obviously. We have Aki. And someone else. Right? There is someone else. Who am I forgetting? Atsuo. That's right. Oh, and Takeshi. I forgot two people. Oops. We have 7 left, though. Assuming I'm not forgetting anyone else. No, I did the math. We have 7 left. Now, low key, I don't think these are the only characters who have to fear death. I think they are the ones at the most risk. But I think there's 2 other characters who also have a pretty good chance of dying this chapter. I feel like Atsuo should also be added to this list. If we ignore his love interests with Hayato and Alicia, oops. If we ignore his love interest with Hayato and Alicia, Atsuo is probably Rui's closest ally, his best bud. And I think that alone puts him in a little bit of danger, especially in a chapter like this. But I also think maybe we should add Rui to this list. I don't know, call me crazy. I think there is a non-zero... Listen, I'm not saying it's the most realistic, but I think there is a non-zero chance Rui could meet his demise in this chapter. I think it is probably the most unrealistic of these 5, if I'm being 100% real. But I could see it. I don't know, just based on a lot of the way this story has been built up, I think it's a damn good possibility. Something that has been brought up like somewhat occasionally, but not really, is that Rui sort of has like main character syndrome. He has actively said he thinks he's the protagonist because in his normal Danganronpa game, he was the protagonist. And I think that's a very interesting aspect of Rui that hasn't really been explored a whole lot. Something else that's also been said a lot in this game is that this technically isn't Danganronpa. As similar as it isn't technically a Danganronpa game. So Rui's feelings of him being the main character are a little, unjustified. So I think it could be a really interesting twist. I think they can. So I think they could make it a. So I think that could make for a really interesting twist if they decide to kill Rui off this chapter, and they could have that as some sort of justification. Not saying that will happen, obviously, but I think it could be interesting. I think they could. I know it seems strange to kill a protagonist off in chapter 5 of all chapters, but I think they could make it work. Is all I'm trying to say. Again, I'm not 100% sure that's where they're going with this story, but I could see it. I can see it happening if they want to. Like I said, I feel like they can make it work 100%. So that's where my head's at relating to why I think Rui should be on this list. I'm gonna look like such a fool if it turns out like Aki is the killer and Takeshi is the victim. Just the two characters I'm just completely ignoring right now. I don't know. I don't think Aki's gonna die though, unless they do some sort of mass like execution thing at some point. Aki screams Survivor to me for some reason. I don't know. I just always had that feeling with Aki. Well, I've had it for a while. I think I did predict. In fact, I think in my original predictions, I said both Aki and Takeshi were gonna end up being survivors, and you know what? It's looking like I'm about to be right on those two. I did also say Sumire would survive though, so not a perfect record, but actually looking back now, I predicted Hayato and Alicia as the victim and killer for this chapter in my original prediction when chapter 1 first released. I predicted them as the victim and killer respectively for this chapter. So that's kind of interesting. I just realized for chapter 4 I did predict Mamoru as the killer. Damn, I'm good. I predicted Atsuo as the victim though, so like not perfect, but damn, I'm good. LOL. Funny story. Raven just sent me the game as I was recording this. I did not think he'd send it to me till later. I thought I was ahead of the curve. Damn. All right. Well, let's wrap this up so I can play the game. I want to play Peak. I want to play Peak so bad. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I think these five characters have the highest chance of death. Hayato, Alicia, Gumi, Rui, Atsuo. And I've been thinking on and off for the last couple of weeks about literally as many combinations of these two for victim and killer that I could manage. And just to be clear, I did think about Takeshi and Aki a little bit as well, but I threw them out pretty quickly, like I said. Again, I'm gonna look like such a fool if they end up being the ones who die. So while thinking about it, these are some of the thoughts that I had. These are some of the thoughts I had that I'm the most confident in. Thought number one, I actually don't think Hayato is gonna die. I put him on this list just for the virtue of being, so closely connected to Rui and being the antagonist of the game. But after really thinking about it, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of people are expecting Kaido to die this chapter. In fact, actually, let me check the death pool that they post on the Discord. I'm positive last time I looked at it, Hayato was like leading it. Gonna fuck your dad. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Ooh, actually, I'm wrong. Okay, technically. Hayato is technically leading, but tied with Alicia. Okay. I see you. I think between the two characters, Alicia is more likely to die. And here's why. This game fucking sucks for everyone involved. Everyone involved is going through this terrible awful time. Everything's getting worse. I am almost fully convinced by the end of this game, no one is going to come out with any sort of positive experience whatsoever. Because, usually at the end of these Danganronpa games, there's at least a little bit of, like, hope in there, Like, even after all the despair that the characters had endured, there's something to grasp onto that makes the ending of the game a little bit more bittersweet. Even Live or Die had this with, Kaede and Shuichi reconnecting, Daichi going out to seek original Haruo, or, it can even be something as simple as the bonds the characters formed along the way, which I think is best exemplified with, like, the Trigger Happy Havoc cast. And yeah, like, still the characters went through a lot of shit, but they came out of it on top. They survived, they have a bright future to look forward to. I don't think that's going to happen with this game. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong so far, and this is exemplified by, like, all the really sweet characters dying really early, every relationship being split up. And Live or Die did that as well, but it's like taken to another level in this game. I feel like I don't think this game is gonna end with, like, everyone fucking dying or anything like that, but, like, I don't think, like, whoever survives is not gonna be in any sort of positive frame of mind at all. That's what I'm thinking. And, like, of course, I'd love to be proven wrong. I want these characters to have some semblance of hope in them, but also, like, just based on how this game has been written so far, it's like, ooh, I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think this is going to be a lot more like Another's ending, and not to spoil that ending too much, but that ending was, like, I guess you could say the characters who survived had some hope of, like, reconnecting with the world and getting revenge on the people who forced them into the killing game, but also, like, oh man, it was outweighed by the amount of despair as well that they also faced in that chapter. So I guess you could maybe describe that ending as bittersweet, but, like, extra emphasis on the bitter. I wouldn't even call it bittersweet though. It was just sad. That ending was just sad. And I feel like Survivor's Guilt is going to be a lot closer to that than it was to, like, Live or Die's ending, for example. So just based on the way this game has handled its own, just based on the way this game has handled the individual relationships, and also the fact that nobody can have anything remotely positive going for them in this game, I think Alicia, like, just think about Rui and Alicia's relationship. It can't last. I don't think it can last to the end. As sad as I am to say that, and I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love for something to go right for these characters, but it's hard to see. It's hard to see it right now, and that's why I think one of them has to die, and Alicia, obviously, between Rui and her, is the most likely. Now, I know Rui also has a close relationship with Hayato, so you're probably wondering why I wouldn't think Hayato would also die as well. It's because Hayato isn't really a positive influence on Rui, though. Like Alicia is. Like, yeah, Hayato and Rui are close, but in a much more toxic way. Assuming Rui does survive Chapter 5, one of the big conceits of this game that I'm assuming is going to be carried into Chapter 6 is Rui sort of tangling with his love of Danganronpa in killing games with the fact that, they're bad and cause people actual harm. And the way I see it, Alicia and Hayato are sort of like the metaphorical angel and devil on his shoulder. Alicia is the one encouraging him to move past Danganronpa and start embracing, actual human relationships. I got a message. Oh, it's from my fucking stupid brother. He's trying to tell me about Taco Bell's Baja Blast pie. So yeah, like I was saying, Alicia is like the angel on Rudy's shoulder, convincing him to move away from Danganronpa and start embracing actual human relationships. Meanwhile, Hayato, on the other hand, is the devil. He wants Rui to embrace the way he was written, the way he was created for Danganronpa. He wants Rui to continue loving it, and he wants Rui to understand. And I think most of all, he wants Rui to understand him, why he is the way he is, why he just gives in to the urges that the writers gave him. And I feel like that's going to be the big struggle that the climax sort of centers around a little bit. That's my theory anyway. Rui's dueling conscious. And of course, keep in mind I am limited to my own imagination when it comes to these theories. So again, I could be wrong, but I feel like killing Hayato this chapter would maybe make such a climax a little less interesting. I don't know. I feel like that kind of climax works better if Alicia dies, and then that way Rui has to fight his more negative urges on his own without any support. I feel like that could be interesting. Again, of course, I could be wrong. Maybe that's not at all what the climax is going to be like. Maybe it might not be like what I'm imagining at all. But that's why I'm theorizing right now, based on the way the story is going. So that's why I think Hayato is probably gonna live this chapter. Oh, Raven texted me too. Hell yeah. I'll text Raven anytime. Not my stupid fucking brother. No, I'm joking. I just wanted to be known this is a joke. I love my brother. This is how we show our love with light ribbon. I just want to get that out there right now because I saw a Twitter user making it a very similar joke as what I just did, and people got on her case like, how dare you not show your family members any love, blah 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 blah. So before anyone takes this out of context and fucks me up in the quote treats. But yeah, just based on those two things, I think it's very unlikely Hayato would die. I don't know. I just have that gut feeling. I've had that gut feeling for a while, and also and some of the reactions I've seen so far that Raven have been posting has actually kind of convinced me even more that I'm right. Because I do not think people would be having those kind of reactions to Hayato. I mean, listen. I love Hayato. I know a lot of other people love Hayato, but I think most of us can agree that bitch needs to die. I do not see people screaming out in despair because he died. I don't know. To be fair, you could argue that maybe those reactions are reactions to the other person who dies and not Hayato. So I guess there's still a chance Hayato could die. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel it, man. I feel like it's more likely to be Alicia, and Hayato is still alive by the end of it. And honestly, that might be part of the reason why people are so sad. We'll see, though. What I'm trying to say is, I think out of these five, we can take Hayato out of the running. Just throw him away. Doesn't even matter anymore. I'm not gonna talk about him. I said where I think he'll end up, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like I said, I did try and think of as many combinations and possibilities as I possibly could. And it's not like I can't see any story with Hayato dying, you know, I can see some stories with Hayato dying still being able to work and build off of what came before and everything. You know, like I said, keep in mind I'm limited by my own imagination too. But I don't know, it just seems a lot it just like my gut feelings just tell me it's a lot less likely than some other characters dying. And honestly, out of these four remaining characters, I think we can agree Rui probably has a very low chance of dying too. I did throw him on here, but like realistically, I don't think he's gonna die. Even though this chapter is gonna do something weird, I still like I said, I feel like the main conceit of this game is Rui's um Rui's struggle, internal struggle. And I feel like that's going to play a very big part in the climax, even. So him dying now obviously wouldn't work if that is the case. Of course, I could be wrong about that. Let's keep that in mind. I could be wrong about how the climax is going to go down. But, and they could play into what I said earlier about how Rui is like, you know, sort of has this main character syndrome. And I still think that could be interesting in its own regard. But I'm not 100% sure that's actually where the story is going. So I think it's very unlikely Rui would die too. So we'll throw him out as well. Just so that leaves Alicia, Atsuo, and Gumi. Now, a big way to make Chapter 5 big, feel big and extreme, would be to kill off what is technically the main protagonist of the last game. Well, technically not, but like you know what I mean. Shut up. That was rude. I'm sorry. So I think there's a case for Gumi being, you know, a dead one. Her being a leader does make her a bit of a target. She was in pretty rough shape in the last chapter. Her mental state just in general is deteriorating, so I feel like that could even be used against her by a killer. And that whole speech she gave at the end of chapter 4 does kind of raise some death flags, to say the least. So I think there is a good argument to be made for Gumi being. I think she'd more likely be a victim than a killer. Though, of course, with the right motive, anyone could be a killer, let's be real. I think I'm pretty locked in, though, on Alicia being one of the deaths, though. I don't know. I just feel super. I just get that vibe from Alicia. I think I agree with the death pool on this one. I think Alicia deserves to be the highest, ranked possibility. I just think it makes a lot more sense for the story. And I really hate to say it, I don't want it to be Alicia, but like that girl's been through a lot, especially in this game. She already almost died once. I really don't want it to be her, but like I'm just thinking about it. I'm just like fuck. It's just speaking to me. It's speaking terrible things into my mind. So I feel like I guess the question is, what do I think Alicia is more likely to be, a killer or a victim? Again, I think it depends on the motive. I could see her killing. Either way, I feel like her extreme like sort of that state she got into near during the trial of chapter 4. I feel like that state is gonna come into play at some point in this chapter, and that's gonna lead to her downfall in some way. I just have such a bad feeling about that. It's either gonna be what reveals her as a killer, or maybe make her vulnerable to an attack by a killer. I could see her killing to maybe protect Rui in some way. Um, I could also see her dying to do that, like sacrificing herself in some capacity. Man, it's just tough. It's just tough. It's just tough, man. And again, we gotta keep in mind this chapter's gonna be somewhat different. So like, I don't. Oh man, I don't even know where to. So I'm trying to think of like how they would take these normal tropes and then twist them around in their brilliant minds, but it's tough when you're not them. It's tough when you're not a genius. Here's the thing. I am almost so confident that Alicia is gonna die. I almost don't want to say Gumi will be the opposite. The victim slash if so like if Alicia's the victim, I don't think Gumi will be the killer or vice versa. This game has killed so many of the female characters, and I don't know why. Why do you keep killing the beautiful women, Raven? Stop it. Stop it. But no, in actuality, this game has killed so many of the female characters. I do not see two girls dying in this chapter. I don't know, because then what's gonna. The fucking remaining survivors are just gonna be a big fucking sausage party. And I don't know that I know that was my logic for why they wouldn't kill Kokoro last chapter, and obviously I was fucking wrong about that. So I don't know how much they're giving consideration into that, but like I'll say this, like even if I'm wrong about Alicia and it's Gumi instead, like I don't think both Alicia and Gumi are gonna die this chapter. There you go. I'll say that. Which means, unfortunately, I think I'm pretty much forced to predict Atsuo, right? I feel like he's low key. Like he's been so low key the entire game. He's one of those characters that seemingly is perfectly fit for being a survivor. Like he fits all the tropes, and I think that's what makes him such a prime target for actually killing off in this type of game. And like I said, all the big relationships keep being split up. Takeshi and Natsuo have a very cute relationship going on. Not like a sort of like fatherly child vibe that I really like cool uncle with his nephew. And I think that's gonna be broken this chapter. And again, I thought about maybe Takeshi being the one to die instead of Atsuo, um, especially because he was the one who had he had one of the rebuttal showdowns, not rebuttal showdowns, the RPG minigame that replaced rebuttal showdowns. You know what I mean though. And I thought it'd be really funny to continue the trend of the person who had the rebuttal showdown dying the next chapter. Though Hayato had one too. So I guess if I'm using that logic, then Hayato should be back into the mix, huh? But like I said, Raven has told me that that is just a coincidence. It's just a very funny coincidence that has happened to happen for chapter 2, 3, and 4. And I thought it'd just be really funny if it happened again for chapter 5. But I think this is where the streak is going to end, sadly. I don't know. I've always had a feeling Takeshi would make it to the end too. So maybe I could just be biased. Again, he was one of my original predictions for Survivor. But I don't know. I just feel like by chapter 5, like it should be someone a little bit more important to the story than Takeshi. You know, like I sort of understand using like Eri for Live or Die because like that game didn't have really a whole lot of like super plot relevant characters. At least not on the same tier as like some of the characters in this game anyway. But this game has so many. But this game has so many. Like I feel like there's just better candidates than Takeshi, to create a really impactful chapter 5 death. And again, keep in mind, I am limited by my imagination. I don't want this to be taken as if Takeshi dies, I'm gonna be pissed off or something. I'm gonna be mad that they could have made a more shocking death or whatever. It all depends on the execution, obviously, and I haven't seen the execution yet, so I can't. I'm just going off of vibes right now. But I don't know. I just feel like Atsuo would better fit that role. I am kind of scared for Takeshi because he does have a family, and everyone who has had a family that is currently outside of the game, has ended up dead. Sumire had a wife that she's never gonna see again. Yumi has a husband Yumi has a husband and children that she's never gonna see again. So fuck it, why not orphan another child, huh? Takeshi's son, why not? He's never gonna see his dad again. Fuck it. Is Takeshi's is the mother still alive? I don't know if that's been talked about yet. I can't remember, but fuck it, we'll kill her too. That kid's gonna be an orphan. And like I said, part of me is kind of worried that like by the end of this game, no character is gonna have anything to look forward to. They're gonna have no hope. Everything is just gonna be sad. And part of the reason I came to that conclusion actually was because everyone with a family outside has died. Everyone who had loved ones and people who care for them that we know of. So like using that logic, it's Takeshi should probably die. We'll say this. We'll say this. I think Atsuo would fit much better. But also, like, thinking about it a little bit more, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Takeshi instead. I feel like they could do some really good emotional stuff with Takeshi still. Would they make Takeshi a killer again though? Is the question. I don't know if they make another version of Takeshi the killer, but maybe maybe we could go back to that theme of following your programming, and this version of Takeshi ends up being a killer again. Harkening back to the harkening back to what I was talking about earlier with Rui, following your programming versus breaking away from it. That sort of struggle. Honestly, now I'm thinking about it a little bit more. I kind of dig the Takeshi. I kind of dig the Takeshi idea. Maybe I was too hasty to throw out Takeshi. Mmm. Mmm. I hope if he is the killer, he gets smashed with another play button. Oh please, please. That'd be the funniest thing in the world. I hope it's like silver this time though. Like more embarrassing to be crushed by. I don't know why that would be more embarrassing. I don't know why that'd be more embarrassing to be crushed by. It just would feel more embarrassing, Like if I was to die that way, I would want to be a gold play button. I feel a little cheaped out if like the they used the silver one to kill me. Like fucking come on, my death ain't worth a little bit more to you guys. Like come on. Fuck. Now I'm thinking about it, I really do like the Takeshi plot line. Oh, fuck. I really like the Atsuo one though too, and I don't think they're gonna kill both. Atsuo was also in a pretty bad shape. Atsuo was also in pretty bad shape at the end of the last chapter, so I feel like that's definitely gonna come up in this chapter too. Actually, I feel like out of all the characters, he probably had it the worst. Well, I mean, out of all the characters that didn't fucking die. Okay. I am predicting that the deaths are either gonna be Takeshi slash Achuo, one of them, and then Alicia. I think that is the grand conclusion I am coming to. Thank you for letting me talk it out, guys. Yapping it out, dishing it out with you all. Now, who do I think will be the victim and killer? I think. Okay, this is gonna be convoluted as fuck, and I'm sorry. I think if it's Takeshi, Takeshi will be the killer, and then Alicia will be the victim. However, if it's Atsuo, I think Atsuo fits better as a victim, and Alicia is the killer. Bam! Perfect prediction. Give me my academic scholar cap. I've just graduated from the University of fucking awesomeness. I'm so fucking cool, man. Look at me. That is my prediction. That is my prediction, assuming this is gonna be a normal fucking chapter where two people from the cast die. However, I also thought about the possibility of this not being a normal chapter. Harkening back to Mukuro, I thought about the possibility of something like that happening. And then I had a third eye open up. What if instead of one of the cast members we know and love being the victim, what if it's someone who hasn't been seen yet? Or has barely been seen? I think that is not a totally unlikely possibility with this game. Especially when we consider this chapter is supposed to be a little, weird. But also thinking about it, like Live or Die and Survivor's Guild have only ever done normal, victim and trial cases. They have a victim and an execution. Or victims. I could totally see them wanting to mix it up for this last proper trial of the game. Because we gotta keep that in mind. This is gonna be the last proper trial of the game, which is kind of hard to imagine. But it is. It's true. So who would this mysterious person be? Well, I have a few ideas. It could be the person that's being held captive on the island that we know about thanks to some of the hints going around. Maybe they get used as bait in some way. Um, Sort of like Mukuro. Of course, I don't know exact. Of course, I can't predict the exact extent of it all, but I could see something like that happening. If that doesn't happen, though, I still think there's a high chance we learn who the person in the cage is in this chapter, or at least get a more definitive hint about their identity. We'll see. We'll see. Because that's like another plot point that's like been brought up a few times but rarely touched on. So of course, to this build up to the final chapter, I think we're gonna learn a little bit more about them, but we'll find out. But yeah, I think that could be a good possibility. I also thought about the possibility of Haruo Miyamoto. Now this is outlandish. I know this is completely outlandish, but we have a pretty good idea that Haruo is hacking into the game for whatever reason, presumably to save the people trapped in, but we don't know for sure. There's been a lot of talk about Haruo in this game. He's been brought up numerous times. Even in the last chapter, he had this whole big segment dedicated to him. Haruo is definitely very important to the plot of this game in some capacity. So I don't think it'd be too crazy for him to wind up in this and like come into the game itself to do whatever it is he's doing and maybe end up dead. I don't know. I don't think that's the craziest idea in the world. It would make for a really shocking twist. So those are my two big theories. And I guess my third theory about who it could be would be whoever the hunter is, presuming it's not one of the main characters. I guess the hunter could also be one in the same with, the guy in the cage or Haruo, but I don't think that's likely. So that's why I'm giving him his own separate category. I don't know. I could see any of these being likely. Like a little bit of a Mukuro esque plot twist, a little bit of a Mukuro esque body discovery. Like I don't know. I think that could be kind of cool. Because again, that's something the series hasn't really done yet, and I feel like if they are going to do it, the perfect time would be the final chapter of the final proper chapter of one of their games. Of course, that's just a theory. We'll see. I'm sure whatever they come up with, though, it's going to be great. They're going to be cooking like always. Um, those are just some ideas I have spring into my head. I think in the case that it is any of these guys as the victim, and I think they'd be victims. I don't think they'd be killers. Um, I mean, it could be kind of cool if, like, I don't know, Haru showed up and he got lumped into a trial as a possible suspect. What the fuck? Suspect? That could be a kind of cool little twist to it. But I don't know. I don't see that happening as much. But of course, I am limited to my own imagination, as I've been saying. I don't know. This is just gonna be a really weird, funky chapter all the way through. I already know it. I've been told it was since chapter 4 came out. So I've been preparing for it. So I have some weird, funky ideas. I understand that, but I hope you will accept them and understand where I'm coming from with them. And we'll see how right or wrong I am. That's the fun of doing this. Coming up with outlandish theories and seeing what sticks and what doesn't. I feel like I'm probably off, but on the off chance I am right, that's gonna be so cool. That's just gonna feel really fucking cool. I'm gonna feel so fucking smart, dude, which is a very rare occurrence on this channel. Sadly, it shouldn't be, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think if any of these guys, so yeah, I think if any of these guys are the victim, I do have to probably say it will be Alicia who is the killer again. I don't know. Again, I just have such a gut feeling that Alicia's gonna die this chapter. The title especially is making me feel that. So this is info Raven provided me when he announced the title of this chapter. The title is taken from a Nine Inch Nails song, and a very sad one at that. He gave me a link and everything, and I listened to it, and yeah, it's devastating. And I have no doubt that this chapter is gonna live up to the devastation of that song it's named after. From listening to the song and looking into it a little bit to see like different interpretations of it, The song at its core is about a relationship sort of breaking down, and obviously, when I think relationships in this game, I think Alicia and Rui. So it's about this relationship breaking down and looking at how bright the past was and what could the future could have been had the relationship not broken down like that. So that's why I have just a very strong suspicion Alicia is in danger. And again, Rui does have a relationship with Hayato as well, but it's a lot more, not as positive for him. Not as bright, I'd say, as his relationship with Alicia. I'm looking at the song lyrics right fucking now, and the parts of the song where the singer is talking positively about the relationship he once had with whoever, I don't think really applies as much to Rui and Hayato, you know? And, sort of piggybacking on what I said before about how I think Hayato is sort of the devil on Rui's shoulder, and I think that's going to make for a really interesting climax. I think Alicia's just going to die, man. I'm getting sad about it just thinking about it, but I think that's what it is, man. I knew it was gonna happen. I've been preparing for it since chapter one, but fuck, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to say bye. I think it's also interesting to note that this song, and all that could have been, is very much drenched in a layer of what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a little bit of guilt on the singer's part in these lyrics, as if the singer is blaming himself for the relationship crumbling and breaking down. There's this line that says, I am tainted, the two of us were never meant to be. All these pieces and promises and left behinds, if only I could see. In my nothing, you meant everything to me. And I feel like that's very interesting. I feel like that maybe implies that there's going to be some sort of conflict between Rui and Alicia happening in this chapter too. And if she dies at the end of this chapter, ooh, I might actually cry again, dude. I might actually cry again. I don't want to cry again, man. Oh, please, can I just please? Like if we take these lyrics and put the feelings of the songwriter into Rui, maybe this could imply that he feels he doesn't deserve Alicia's kindness and Alicia's a relationship with Alicia because of the way he was created or something, you know? Because that's really what this song is about. It's this dude blaming himself for this relationship crumbling because of his actions, because of his past, whatever. He feels like he is worthless. He feels he doesn't deserve this person who means everything to them. At least that's the way I'm interpreting it. Please take this and run far away from me. He feels like he's doing damage to the relationship for whatever reason. And obviously, not everything that's in the song gets literally translated into the game, but like, it does make me a little worried, you know? Oh man. Actually, I'm on Genius right now, and I think this annotation that someone made, I think could perfectly describes what I'm feeling could happen. So I'll just read the annotation verbatim. The first line, if only I could see, seems to suggest there is some self criticism of a choice being made. The narrator feels worthless and struggles with this choice to disconnect and withdraw from someone he still feels strongly for, perhaps the most important person in his life. And just taking that idea and implementing it into Rui, that's obviously Alicia. This could suggest Rui is still struggling with his love for Danganronpa and feels like it is ruining his relationship with Alicia. I fear that Alicia is gonna die this chapter, and you know things are gonna end badly between them. Now that sort of thing I think would totally make the make all the reactions I've seen so far make a lot of sense. Whew. Dude, just thinking about this chapter just makes me sad, dude. Oh, just thinking about all the possibilities is upsetting me. How am I gonna make it through the actual fucking game, man? Woo! I'm sure whatever Aru and Raven cooked up is gonna be peak. Whether my theories are right or wrong, we'll just have to see. I think I am gonna lock in. I need to pick between Atsuo and Takeshi. I don't really want to commit to one of like the Mukuro esque ideas I had. I'll just say Atsuo because I just feel like Alicia's gonna end up being the killer. I don't know. No, well maybe if my idea about what like Rui and Alicia's relationship going awry is right, maybe she could be the victim. It's tough. It's tough. Maybe instead of just doing specific like guesses on who I think is the victim and killer, I'll just make death guesses, just general death guesses. And you know what? I just think Alicia's gonna die. I just think Alicia's gonna die. It's just that simple, man. It's just that fucking simple. Do I have any other predictions that I want to cover? I said I was gonna discuss all my hunter theories in the episode. Um, I think uh, I think everyone's gonna come back to life, and they're all gonna be super happy, and me and Kokoro are gonna kiss, and the end. Oh, and Hayato is gonna be thrown in a highly guarded jail cell for the rest of his life, and then the end. Yeah, just think happy thoughts. Just think happy thoughts. No, I guess in all seriousness though, I don't really have many other guesses. Uh, some things I'm excited to see though. I'm excited to see more of Rui, Hayato, and Alicia's weird little three-way dating thing. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more of that. I'm excited to see Gumi fully re-energized, and I hope she does some great things. She's more recommitted to taking on the mastermind of the games. I'm of course excited to see whatever weird ass shenanigans happen. Maybe I can figure out what the reference is partway through the chapter. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe I just need to see like the story fold out, and I can connect it to something if it is actually something I've seen before. But again, I think it's probably better that it's a surprise for me. So maybe I just shouldn't even think about it. And I'm excited to cry again. I'm probably gonna let's just be real. I'm probably gonna fucking cry again on camera. I don't want to cry again. I really did think for sure that nothing could be sadder than Kokoro's death for me personally in this game. But God, thinking it through a little bit and seeing everyone's reactions kind of makes me have some second thoughts. You know what? We'll just see. We'll just see. Either way, I'm sure we'll have a fun time. I'm excited to make some videos about this game. As I've said before, Survivor's Guild videos are always my favorite ones to make. I think it is without the I think it is without a doubt currently the best Let's Play I've ever made, and it's just something about this game just brings out the best of me. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but just something about it just really just engrosses me, and then also just brings out my A game for whatever reason. And I don't know, man. But I always love recalling for Survivor's Guild. Just even when I am sad. I hope you guys realize even when I am like miserable and whatnot, I am still having a good time making these videos for you all. So I hope you guys don't get like too worried about me. I just want to preface this chapter with that, just in case I actually do end up really depressed sounding. I hope you know like it is slightly exaggerated. Like obviously I'm not faking any emotions, but sometimes I do exaggerate them for comedic effect. They like come from a real place though, you know. I that crying though, I did not fake crying. No, I can't fake cry. I did legitimately bawl my eyes out. I would not do that. No, it's almost like cathartic, you know, like cause like I said, I do feel legitimately sad, even if I am exaggerating a little bit. But just being able to get it out in a somewhat funny way, just makes me feel a little better, you know. So I hope you guys understand that. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, this game does bum me out sometimes, but I do really have fun making these videos and putting them out there. So I hope you guys don't actually worry about me. And like I said, just letting out my emotions in that way is just very, I don't know, feel very healing for me. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I hope it does. I think that's all I gotta say. I hope we see more kissing. I want to see more kissing. Honestly, you know what? It's unfair Hayato didn't get to fuck Rui. I'm just gonna say it. If they're really dedicated to this threesome being equal, Hayato should fuck Rui. I'm just getting that out there. If Hayato doesn't fuck Rui this chapter, I'm gonna be pissed. It's only fair. I'm only saying this for the sake of fairness and for no other personal reasons. I don't want to see it. Who wants to see that? No. But I just think it needs. I just think it's only fair. Just it's unfair. Alicia gets to be the only one having fun. I don't know. Let's do yaoi, man. Like I don't know. Come on. Okay. In all seriousness, I think I said everything I need to. Oh boy, this chapter is gonna be. It's gonna be something, man. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my analysis slash theories. I'm scared. I'm really scared. But I think it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna have fun like usual. I'll try and make it as fun and lighthearted as I possibly can. But prepare some tissues. I'll just say that much. I just have a feeling we're gonna need them. Prepare all the tissues and maybe some ice cream too. I think I've settled that. I still don't know what I'm gonna say for the video. I think for the video I'm just gonna go with the Mukuro esque theories. You know, I'm gonna have that as my main theory. We're gonna have some other third party character come in, and they're gonna die, and then Alicia is gonna be the killer. That's what I think. I'll run with that. I'll run with that. Anyway, I'm gonna end things off here. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you join me on chapter 5. Have yourselves a lovely day. Bye bye.